Okay, so Marxism is the notion that we need system change, that capitalism is a system that has fundamental flaws, that those flaws show up in the difficult conditions imposed on the majority of people, the employees as opposed to the employer class, and that Marxism names those flaws, much as the abolitionists in slavery named the fundamental flaw of the system as being what happens if you make a human being into a piece of property like a donkey or a tractor or something else. And the Marxist argument was that capitalism visits on people three fundamentally intolerable conditions. Number one, an endless production of inequality. Marx has a famous line in which he writes, "Capitalism is indeed a system that produces and reproduces great wealth. But it unfortunately is a system that produces great wealth at one pole and great poverty at another. It is as efficient in producing one as it is in producing the other. The poor will always be with us" may have been an idea concocted long before capitalism, but capitalism is trapped in a way of producing inequality that is socially antagonistic, disruptive, and fundamentally unfair. The second criticism Marxism levies against capitalism is that it is intolerably unstable. Wherever capitalism settles, every 4 to 7 years, it has a quote-unquote recession or depression or economic downturn. Lots of phrases for something that happens so often. Suddenly, people who need a job to produce goods and services we need to consume are thrown out of work. Businesses die. People suffer unemployment, which of course is immediately shared with their families and their communities. Sometimes these are short and shallow, but often these downturns cut deep and last a long time, like the great one of the 1930s, called the Great Depression, or the one we've been living with since 2008, called the Great Recession. An economic system that unstable is an economic system that literally screams out, at least to Marxists, as being something that we can do better than. That is a system that we can and should criticize and that we should replace with one that does not permit large numbers of people to be thrown out of work when they need the jobs and we need the goods and services they can produce. And if we don't need those goods and services, then let's give those people a job with shorter hours so that they have the leisure without being unemployed, which is where the suffering begins. And the final argument of the Marxists is that a system that creates great inequality and then imposes suffering through its instability is a system that is therefore unjust, because the greatest sufferers in all the ups and downs of capitalism are the bottom half or the bottom 2/3 of the population. They're the last hired, they're the first fired. They're the ones with the low income, they're the ones who take it on the chin. So that the argument of the Marxists is, we can do better. History hasn't stopped with capitalism. If capitalism was an improvement, which Marxists generally believe, over the slavery and the feudalism that existed beforehand, it also can be improved upon, and nobody should be allowed to shut down the conversation that Marxists insist on, that we can, we should, we need to do better.